Hello and welcome to the Happy Dads Club, the podcast designed with dads in mind. I'm your host Callum Francis, a father of one, and I'm really glad that you've joined me for today's discussion. I know as much as the next dad just how challenging it can be at times to be a dad, which is why with this podcast we leave no dad behind, regardless of faith, religion, race or background. This is a safe space where us dads have permission to admit we are struggling at times and often feel like we don't have all the answers. So whether you're on the way to work, at the gym, out for a walk, or even at your lowest point, I want to say a huge well done for making the decision to hit play on this podcast today. And hopefully in doing so, we can help each other get back to a place of happiness and being the best dads that we know we can be. So let's dive straight into this session. So on today's session, we're going to discuss the topic of being at our best and how it feels and what it means to be at our best. Because I'm sure you'll agree that as men, there's always a pressure or an expectation that we have all the answers, we've got everything figured out, we know what we want in life, we know where we're going, and we almost are expected to know how we go about achieving what we want in life. But we know that that isn't always the case. And because of those pressures and those expectations being placed upon us, it makes us maybe feel even more of failures when we're not that person or we're not quite there. So we need to understand that yes, there is a pressure, yes, there is an expectation, but it's okay to not quite have all the answers and not to feel as though you've got everything figured out. Things take time, and we need to use this time to really figure out where we want to be in life. Because I think what we do as men is we tend to compartmentalize things, especially when it comes to being at our best. For example, we have things like keeping fit, we have things like doing well at work, being a good partner, being a good dad, and we have this belief that we can't always have it all. We have to tick a few boxes, but we can't have all the boxes ticked at the same time. And I think that goes hand in hand with the expectations, because the world is expecting us, like I say, to have it all figured out, which means that you can be in amazing shape, you can be the best partner, husband, boyfriend that you can possibly be, you can be an amazing dad. But as we know, that isn't always the case, and on this episode we want to sort of confirm to you guys that it's okay that isn't always the case, and hopefully we can use this discussion to figure out ways where we can make it more of a possibility, where we feel like we have got it all and we are operating at our optimum ability in all areas of our life. It's okay going to the gym and working out and feeling absolutely incredible. But if you're then coming home and you're arguing with your partner, you're not giving your kids the time or the attention that they need for their development, you're not giving them much attention in terms of their schooling or what matters to them. You can be going to work and absolutely executing on everything and just being such an amazing employee or business owner, whichever one you are. But if your home life isn't quite there, then that means that you're operating at your best in certain areas, but not all. And I think it's really important that we try and understand that it is possible to get to a point in life where we can honestly say we are doing our absolute best across all areas of our life. We can have it all. And I'm sure, or at least I hope, by tuning into this podcast on a regular basis, it's almost like use it as a bit of a pinch point almost, or a little bit of a stop check, just to sort of gain your bearings and understand where you are in certain fields of your life. And hopefully, just by doing that, just by taking that little moment to reflect on where you are or where you still need to work on yourself, it will just allow you that idea of where you need to focus your energy on improving yourself. Not only so that you can be better for you, but so that you can be better for your partner or your children, basically, but also the wider community, you know, brothers, sisters, family members. We as men, we have to show up in so many areas of our lives. And if you can identify the areas where you're probably not as sufficient as where you'd like to be, then that gives you a great opportunity to know where to focus your efforts so that we're not wasting time. Because like I've said, sometimes we put too much effort and energy into the wrong things. I guess you could say that this might have something to do with our ego as men. You know, we are seen as the strong-minded sex. Not always, but there's an assumption. And sometimes, like me, I like going to the gym. I like keeping in shape and looking after my health. But like I've said, that counts for nothing. If you're physically strong, then it's nothing if you're not mentally strong, emotionally strong. You need to really work on having both in your life in order to feel a complete sense of being at your best. And like I've said, you can't pour from an empty cup. So what we need to do is almost not feel so much that we've got everything figured out. Pour a little bit out of our cup so that it gives us that space to learn. And this is what I'm saying about identifying areas where, if we're being honest with ourselves, we know we can do better. You know, I strongly believe that listening to this conversation today, in your mind, you are already identifying areas within your life where you know you can make progress. Now just think about that. There's nothing wrong with that. The fact that you're in your car, you may be at the gym, you may be listening at work, you may be listening at home or on a walk. If you are thinking right now that there's an area in my life where I know I need to work on, that is a great thing. Please do not just, brush over that. We need to see our deficiencies head on, and we need to meet them head on to be the best dads that we can be. And don't just sit and think, yeah, there's an area in my life that I need to work on, but then after you've listened to this podcast, go away and do nothing about it. These are the areas that we need to sit and we need to really open them up to work out where or how we can better ourselves in those areas. And don't be afraid to share these with people. If you're going home and you've got a partner, don't be afraid to sit there and speak to her openly and say, look, I've been thinking, I want to make sure I'm a better partner to you. I want to make sure that I'm better for the kids. I've recognised that there's a few areas that I need to work on. What do you think? Here's what I've identified. Is this something that you feel the same? Do you share the same ideas of where I'm not doing so great at the minute? Because feedback is very important. Without feedback, we're like a ship in a sea with no destination. We're just drifting through. But with a bit of feedback, they're like, imagine you're on a slalom and you're going through the gates. The feedback's the gates. They keep us on the right path. And we've got to get out of this idea of being afraid to ask for feedback from those that are closest to us, because I'm sure you'll agree that often a lack of communication is the biggest inhibitor of healthy relationships. So asking for feedback, there's no shame in that. It's one of the best and quickest and most effective ways that you can guarantee that the work you're putting in and the efforts that you're putting in to become a better father, partner, a better man. Like, there's nothing better. And keep that conversation going. Don't just ask for feedback at one point in time. do a little bit of work and then it just sort of drifts. What we need to be making sure of is that we get feedback on our improvements. It's not, I don't want it to sound like we're school kids and we're at school and, you know, we do a little bit of good work and we expect someone to say, oh yeah, well done, you're doing great. No, it's not like that. It can be subtle feedback. You will know if the efforts you're putting in are paying off. I promise you. You will come home to a more harmonious atmosphere. Your children will be smiling more. Your partner will be happier. There'll just be a much more positive energy wherever you go. That will be your feedback. Use that to let you know if what you're doing is right or wrong. If you're doing something and it doesn't seem to be having the impact that you thought you would have, don't stop doing it, but just alter course slightly. Again, sit, open it up, look at what you're doing, look at what's working and what's not working, and then by identifying the things that aren't working, you know that, again, it's where you've got to focus your attention. And you've got to put the energy in to slowly, over time, just baby steps, just doing little subtle changes. It could be things like how you use your time. What are you prioritizing? If you're finishing work and your first priority is going to the gym, while you know your partner's at home cooking the meals for the kids when they get home from school, whatever. This is just an example. What difference would it make to your partner or your children if you finished that workout half an hour early and went home and was there for when they got home from school? What difference would it make to your partner or your children if you decided to leave the office half an hour early and be home for when they finish school? Even better, walk to the school, drive to the school and actually be there at the gates to pick your children up. What difference would it make to their life? Because the differences to their lives, the positive impacts of these changes, I can promise you will be reciprocated back to you. Anything we do, the kindness that we do for other people, it's a closed loop system. It always comes back. It's a full 360. We give out kindness and the universe will bring that kindness back to us. Now, I'm not saying do it to get it back. That's kind of toxic. We don't want to get to that level of kindness where we're doing something purely because we hope to receive something. That's not genuine kindness. And you know, that to me is a little bit, you're going down the wrong roads if that's the reasons for your kindness. We need to just give unconditional kindness and love to those people around us, and with no expectations of anything in return. But I assure you, the universe will reward you heavily for genuine, heartfelt kindness and love. So if you're there and you've got these ideas in your head of where you can make changes in your life, then please don't just listen to this podcast, have these ideas and go away and do absolutely nothing. Let's get to work on what it takes to make us the best dads that we can be. And you know, this is the Happy Dads Club. What we're hoping to achieve is to get dads out there much more happier. And the knock-on effect, the ripple effect of a happy dad is a happy partner, happy children, and everything around you will just lift. It will just, you know, take off almost. The weight of sadness needs to be shifted from our shoulders, the weight of expectation. But one thing I will say is, I strongly believe that every dad out there has the potential within them to be the best dad that they could possibly be. Now, I know external influences can sometimes hinder that. I know that life situations and circumstances can sometimes threaten our ability to do that. And we will discuss this on other podcasts, and I'm sure we'll have some interesting guests on to sort of divulge into those issues a little bit more. But today, we're just sort of primarily focusing on you as an individual. What does it take for you to feel at your best? What will it mean for you to finish the day, lie in bed? You might be on your own, you might have a partner. It doesn't matter. You're a dad, and it's important that at the end of the day, us dads can put our head on that pillow, close our eyes and know, today I did my absolute best. and there's nothing better than that. And yeah, for some people your best might not be good enough. We'll deal with that in other conversations and discussions, but today it's all about what does it take for me to be at my best. It may involve sacrifice. Like I've said, a half an hour shortened session at the gym, leaving the office half an hour early. It may involve sacrifice, but what do you stand to gain with those sacrifices? Through sacrifice, we can reach a point of so much happiness. Nothing will come easy. Nothing great ever came without a little bit of sacrifice. So, guys, I'm asking you today, if you're listening to this, think about where if you're honest with yourself, where you can do better, and please give it a go. Just, even if you give me a week, say, Callum, for the next week, I'm going to make sure that I do half an hour less at the gym so that I can go home and I can be with my children. Just give me that, and I guarantee you will see so much rewards in your life just from that 1 week, and hopefully that will be all it takes for you to make lasting positive changes moving forward in your life. And don't worry, it's okay to have dips. It's okay to have bad days. But what it's not okay is, it's not okay to have a bad month or a bad year or even a bad decade, which I know some people out there, you may feel like you're in a bad decade. But now is the time to just drop that burden and focus on you. What does it take for me to be at my best? And when you've got those ideas in your head, let's go to work on them. Let's talk openly about them. Let's share where we feel that we're not quite at our best and get that feedback. Might not be from a partner, might not be from your children, but like I've said, there will be signs in your life that act as feedback. Your children smiling more, your children giving you a kiss more, your children telling you they love you more. This is the feedback that I'm talking about, and I know, my dad's out there, I know that there is no better feedback than the feedback you get from your children when you know that they know you're doing your best. It's the best feeling in the world. And like I've said, your best is always good enough. It's always the best you can do. So as long as we're trying our best, there's no pressure to do any better, because we're human. We give 100%. But I'm speaking to the dads out there that if they're honest with themselves, they know they're not giving 100%. Like I've said, have the bad day. Have the bad week if it needs it, but leave that behind. It's time to start working on ourselves, being the best dads that we can be. And I assure you, being honest with yourself, getting that feedback, being more open and willing to be almost vulnerable in your communication with those around you for the feedback of where you're going wrong and what you can do to change and improve. Keep that communication. Communication is key. It's the one area of being men, I guess, that we're just, if we're at the weekends or we're down at the gym or whatever, we're great at communicating. We're talking all the time, but yet when it matters and to the people that matter, we're a closed shop. And we've got to do what we can to change that. It's going to be scary. It might feel like you're weak. It might feel like you're less of a man for opening up to somebody and saying, look, I'm having a bit of a hard time. I want to become a better person, a better partner, a better dad. I'm trying to figure out ways where I'm not doing great at the minute. I've identified a few, and I just want to know, do you share this same thoughts? Do you agree with me that these are the areas that I need to work on? And if they do, great. Let's get that conversation going, and let's start identifying ways and action steps that will slowly move us in the right direction. And I'm going back to that idea of the boat in the water. You will now start to get little destinations where you are now. Here's my boat. There's my destination. And every now and then you're going to get a little bit of feedback that will show you whether you're going in the right direction or not. And it's fine if sometimes we're not going in the right direction. It's fine, because the good thing is, by that feedback we can adjust course. and get back into the right direction. There's nothing worse than having no destination but no direction and no feedback. We are literally floating through life. We are existing. We are mentally dying before we physically died. There's nothing worse than that, guys. Come on, I'm sure you'll agree. So recognize where we're not doing great. Have that conversation. It's going to be scary. It might be daunting. And sometimes being truthful with yourself, it can feel embarrassing. You're like, wow, am I really that person? But that's where we want to get to. We want to be honest with ourselves, and we want to make positive changes to our lives to make us the best dads that we can be. So dads, I'm going to wrap it up there. I'm really confident that you are going to go away and you're going to do these things that I'm asking you to do. And I promise you that give it a week and you will know after 7 days of putting in the work, you will get some form of feedback that says you're on the right track. You're heading in the right destination. You're going in the right direction. The people around you have noticed differences, and I'm confident that will give you the determination to keep moving forward and keep doing what you're doing, so that every day you know that you have been the best you, which will also mean you've been the best dad. So I'm going to leave it there, guys. I hope you've enjoyed today's session. It's been a great conversation. There's been a lot discussed, a lot talked about, but like I say, I have every confidence that you're going to go out and smash it. So go out, don't be afraid to try, give it the best efforts at being the best you. We've got each other's backs here. I've been Callum Francis. Thank you very much for listening. For all inquiries or general contact, or if you'd like to sponsor the Happy Dads Club podcast, please email us at thehappydadsclub@outlook.com. Thank you.